Man, what should I film tonight? Feels like it's been forever since I've done an episode, since I was away on vacation. I mean, it's only been a week, but I feel like I need to come back strong. What can I do? No, maybe. No, no. Wait a minute. Go back. Ninjas. Yeah, that's it.
Ninjas. Yeah, ninjas. Everybody loves ninjas. Hey everybody, it's me, Rob. Welcome to Days of Dorker Past. In this episode, we're going to take a look at some 80s cartoon ninjas. During the 1980s, ninjas became a huge cultural phenomenon. They appeared everywhere, from movies to toys to cartoons to, everywhere. They became everything from the unstoppable villain to the awesome hero and everything in between. But in today's episode, we're going to take a look at some 80s cartoons that had ninja characters in them. The best place for us to start on our ninja journey through 80s cartoons is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The cartoon came out in 1987 and was based on the 1984 independent comic by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. I first heard about TMNT while reading a Comic Scene magazine, which is a magazine that's long gone, but it was where you got all your comic book news. They had a write-up of the Turtle comic, and this was the first time I saw it, and I was instantly enthralled by it. When I finally tracked down some of the comics, they were in the First Publishing's graphic novels that they released in color. It was almost by a happenstance, if you will, that when I received my first graphic novels from TMNT, I heard word that a cartoon was coming and toys. I remember I got the toys first. I had to get all 4 of them, and it was probably a few months later that the cartoon hit the airwaves. Even as a new reader to the comic, I was taken aback to how drastically different the cartoon was. Gone were the blood-soaked and battle-damaged turtles, and they were replaced with surfer dudes and slapstick bumbling villains. No matter how different it was from the comic, the show was a success, and kids everywhere loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So much, in fact, that today it still goes on strong, and it is a name that is commercialized within itself. Nickelodeon bought the rights to it, and they have become a cultural juggernaut all to themselves. So we go from a very shining highlight of ninjas and cartoons to maybe one that's not viewed as favorable. And that's Super Ninja from Karate Commandos. Karate Commandos was a cartoon released in 1986 and based on the character and likeness of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris, along with his Karate Commandos, fought evil ninjas. Their master, Super Ninja, was the pinnacle of ninjas, I guess, at the time, even though he was a bumbling laughingstock compared to the machismo of Chuck Norris. The Karate Commandos had a team of martial artists, but they symbolized the good of martial arts. You had normal Karate Commandos. You had a sumo warrior. I guess Mr. Norris could not let fantasy slide and ninjas were bad. Karate, good. The ninjas had outlandish weapons, big golden shuriken on rope. And, Chuck Norris himself drove like a Camaro with blades that shot out of it. Not the best example of ninjas, but that was our culture at the time. Next, rolling along with real actors whose likenesses appeared in cartoons is Rambo and the Freedom Fighters. In Rambo and the Freedom Fighters, you had a good ninja named White Dragon. And you had his brother, the evil ninja, Black Dragon. Again, this show was released also in 1986, so you had Stallone and Norris combating on your afternoon TV screens. Again, this show followed the formula of bad guys are bumbling buffoons, while the good guys fight for what's right and are never wrong. In a future episode, I'll tackle the toys from these shows, but as far as the cartoon goes, it's pretty stereotypical. I hate to say it this way, but it follows almost a Hanna-Barbera template of just the bumbling, buffoonish villains. I don't have any other way to say it. Next on the list is from Thundercats. In a later episode, Mum-Ra conjures up the spirit of a fallen ninja. Now, this ghostly assassin was sent to take out Hachiman, who was a samurai warrior and friend of the Thundercats. This ninja was visually awesome, and it did play on the tropes of ninjas being evil and samurais being good. Which, unfortunately, in reality, samurais were rich and ninjas were poor, and that's where their combative natures came from. Because the ninja was the poor villager peasant that was trying to fight the oppressive overlords of the shogun. Anyway, enough history. The ninja only appeared in one episode of Thundercats, and he was conjured to take out Hachiman as revenge for turning on Mum-Ra. Because Mum-Ra had the original plan of sicking Hachiman on the Thundercats to take them out. Taking on the guise of the pig-like Tabbits, Ninja infiltrated the warrior maiden's treetop kingdom. He helped free Slithe, who was a prisoner of theirs at the time. The two of them took on Hachiman, and his swordsmanship proved to be more powerful than the ninjas. And the rest is history. Now, my next entry into the list might be cheating a little bit, but it's something that I always viewed as a ninja character. Again, in Thundercats, the character Panthro. The hero Panthro wore tabby boots and used nunchucks. These two items were part of the ninja's armory and garb. Panthro used martial arts, and his nunchucks had cool little gadgets in it. He could shoot smoke pellets out of it, shoot blasts out of it, which were common weapons of a ninja. They would use bamboo sticks that had gunpowder in it for flashes, for shooting flechettes, a lot like how Panthro used his nunchucks. So, like I said, it might be cheating, but I always viewed Panthro as a ninja. So, you kind of had a show that had a good ninja in Panthro, and then the evil ninja that Mum-Ra summoned. Now, number 6 on the list, again, is a little bit cheating, and that's an honorable mention of Snake Eyes. Now, hear me out. Snake Eyes in the comic book, of course, major ninja. The toy, major ninja. The cartoon, not so much. In the cartoon series by Sunbow, Snake Eyes really wasn't presented as a ninja, and he was really a side character that never really attention given to him as in the other toy line and comic book. It wasn't until 1991, which is why I'm giving this an honorable mention, in the Deke cartoon, that Snake Eyes finally got his due as a ninja. He would regularly fight Storm Shadow and some of the other Cobra ninjas and assassins. But again, this came in 1991 during the Deke cartoon. So, like I said, he comes in as an honorable mention. Number 7 is Nightstick. This was a ninja slash martial artist on the show Cops, which came out in 1988. Cops, if you don't know, was a fantastic cartoon that spawned one of the best 80s toy lines, in my opinion. Again, we'll get to the toys another day. But as far as the cartoon goes, cops were cops that fought crime at a future time. A la G.I. Joe, the policemen and the villains all had shticks. You had different cop characters that were cowboys and canine units, and in this case, a ninja. His weapon of choice was a large bow staff or naginata that had, I would say, blades on either end, but I don't really know. Now the toys for cops, and I hate getting into the toys, but had cap firing capabilities. So with him you'd put caps on either end of his stick and you could bang them into things to get the cap gun effect. He appeared a couple times in the cartoon, but it's enough to be a ninja in an 80s cartoon and end up on this list. Now number 8 is a personal favorite and a character that should have got a lot more attention in the 80s. She got attention later on, but we're only talking about the 80s here. Well, that'll teach me not to buy the cheapest memory card I can on Amazon. Live and learn. Anyway, where I left off. Number 8 on the list. Like I said, this was a awesome ninja character. She only appeared once on the Transformers cartoon, and that is Nightbird. Nightbird was a robotic ninja warrior built by Dr. Fujiyama to show that humans are capable of great technological feats. He created it for some technological expo that the Transformers were invited to. Things of this nature in the Transformers cartoon universe, the Decepticons intervened. They put a enhanced personality chip in Nightbird. See, before she was just a brainless drone that was a ninja. Now she was a deranged killer ninja robot, and the Autobots had to track her down. At the behest of Dr. Fujiyama, they were not to destroy her, so they tried their best to talk her out of her dangerous assassin-like ways. Unfortunately, yeah, it was a long and hard-fought battle against her. No matter what they did with their hands tied with not destroying her, she kicked the crap out of the Autobots. She had everything from awesome nunchucks to lightsaber-type katanas. By the end, the Autobots covered her with an energy siphoning net, and they were able to capture her and give her back to Dr. Fujiyama. He didn't see fit to deactivate her now that she was alive and had a personality, so he put her in cold storage. Unfortunately, the last we saw, she still had an evil glint in her eye and was staring down the Doctor, waiting for her day of comeuppance. Just like the awesome ninja character in Thundercats, Nightbird only appeared once. I don't know if they had future plans for her, or if it was one of those one-and-done type of story writer type of scenarios where they had plenty of ideas, but they never were able to flesh them out as the series continued. I just watched this episode recently, and I was floored at how awesome she was. Great design, great weapons, and a great background. it would have been really neat to see the Autobots fight her again and hopefully later on get her to turn into an Autobot. Just like a lot of great one-off characters, she deserved a toy. There is one that you can buy now, and it's pretty reasonably priced from what I can see, and it's pretty awesome. Anyway, that was Nightbird, and she was number 8 on the list. Now, number 9 is yet another great, awesome female ninja character, and this is G.I. Joe's Jinx. Jinx only appeared once, which is criminal. She appeared in the G.I. Joe movie in 1987, and that was it. She was a member of the Rawhides, which were the new recruits that were led by Beachhead. She appeared alongside characters like Chuckles, Big Lob, a character that should have got a toy, Law and Order, and Tunnel Rat. Now, the one thing that bugged me to no end is her without her mask. When you had the toy, that's all you had, her and her mask, and it was awesome. The cartoon waited no time to rip that mask off, and you hardly saw her in it ever. They also went out of their way to make her a love interest for Falcon, who was also a member of the Rawhides. But we won't get into that.
Die, arrogant Earth scum! No!
Sorry, I didn't want to get into that. But every time I mention Falcon, I have to show this. And I like the character in toy form and comic book form, but yeah, anyway. The cartoon played off her name in a very literal manner, that she was bad luck. Not really anything established in the toys or the comics, so the writers took liberties with her name. I mean, it kind of played well, and if she would have continued on in the series, it could have been a neat little MacGuffin, a little character trait that could have been explored later on. Because of her bravery in hot-wiring a tomahawk, her and the Rawhides were what turned the tide against G.I. Joe and Cobra La. She went toe-to-toe with Pythana, and in this fight we got a small glimmer from the comic book. See, Jinx fought even better blindfolded, which is a great call to the Blind Master from the comic books. So this alone was just my mind, even though was still a little scarred from the G.I. Joe movie, could have went to bigger and better places after the movie, but unfortunately it fell and we got the Deke cartoon. Now, number 10 on the list is another honorable mention. This character comes from a 90s cartoon, so he doesn't really fit on the list, but it would be criminal for me not to mention him. This was a character that I loved, and this is Ninjas from Botmaster. Now, Botmaster was a cartoon that I would catch in the mornings before I hit the bus to go off to high school. I can't really remember much of the show, but I remember Ninjas vividly. He was a four-armed ninja robot, and it was a neat design, just some neat character traits, but like I said, I don't really remember the show, but a four-armed ninja robot, awesome. I definitely need to bring attention to that. Number 11 on the list. Oh, one of the best ninjas of my childhood, in cartoon form, and that is Storm Shadow. Now, Snake Eyes got an honorable mention earlier for the simple fact of he wasn't played as a ninja in the Sunbow G.I. Joe cartoon. He was later in the Deke cartoon, but Storm Shadow was a ninja through and through from day one. Oddly, his biggest foe from G.I. Joe was Spirit. And these two characters played so well off of each other. You had the Eastern philosophy and ninjutsu training of Storm Shadow versus the Native American mystic training of Spirit. And it just meshed so well. When they first faced off, they had incredible amounts of honor towards each other. They noticed that each was a skilled fighter and they paid each other respect. This is a huge learning experience for me as a kid. And it really drew on the fanciful nature of G.I. Joe. Now, for those that don't know Storm Shadow, they never really went into his ninja clan or any of the background in the cartoon, but he was clad in white, he was an expert of all martial weapons, and a lot of times he was the voice of reason behind Cobra when they were coming up with their harebrained schemes. Everything in that time period was completely awesome about Storm Shadow. The toys, the comics, the cartoon, he was played to the hilt of awesomeness in all versions. Every once in a while, for the sake of the story, yeah, they used some humor with him, but all in all, just, he was awesome, awesome, awesome. I really use that word too much. But we're talking about Storm Shadow. Anyway, this has been some of the best ninjas from 80s cartoons. Of course, I threw in some honorable mentions from the 90s, but like I said, they're awesome, and I just needed to add them to the list. And how can you have a list without Snake Eyes? Seriously. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. And if you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to all you. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button. And if you hit that little bell there, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So, again, keep being rad and stay dorky.